This is a short one like me. Dudes with Brews on the Porch presents Michael Brews.
Dudes with Brews on a Porch. Join with me on Skype is comedian, actor, writer Drew Lynch. How you doing, man?
Oh, good. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for doing this. I kind of went out on a limb, and I've been thinking lately, like I'm not a professional interviewer or anything by any means, and I'm like, do I do a lot of research on this guy, or do I just kind of wing it? Do I write down questions? Because I follow you on Twitter. I follow your dog vlog, and I know your story from America's Got Talent and everything like that. And so I did watch a couple of interviews, and I'm like, I don't want to ask the same questions that all these other people ask. So I should have been like, what questions don't you want me to ask so I can ask them?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I'm usually pretty open to. Most questions. Yeah, man, I always opt to do less work if it comes to researching somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I don't know. I try to do like the casual conversation, but you're on a little bit of a tour. It looks like you're headed to Florida this weekend.
Yeah.
But you're coming to my neck of the woods. So I'm from Wisconsin. I'm in a city called Fond du Lac, which is about 40 minutes away from Appleton, where you're going to be performing at the Skyline.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I've been there before. I've performed at the college there before.
In Fond du Lac?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Really? Oh, Fond du Lac is incredibly boring, but that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that is what everyone told me when I got there, and then I believed it.
Yeah.
After leaving there, but it was nice though. I've been all over Wisconsin, and I mean it's funny too because so many so many people talk about like tours or whatever, and like some people I think it's changed a little bit since like a lot of people used to do tours and it used to be like 6 months long or whatever, and then they wouldn't have to work like the rest of the year, comedians. But it's much less of a tour as is just as an ongoing thing all the time. Dates are always being added, and you always have to keep that that live appearance up as well as while maintaining work at the place you live as well. So it's always a little chaotic.
Yeah, from what I've seen, I'm kind of I like to consider myself a connoisseur of the stand-up comedy. I'm a big
connoisseur.
Yeah, I'm a big deal. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
I follow it quite a bit, a lot of different stand-up comedians, and it seems like predominantly nowadays, it's more of a kind of a Thursday through Sunday type of deal, and then you take the rest of the week off. So you're definitely going back and forth a lot. Have you been to Appleton before?
I think I've passed through Appleton, just in that, because I've driven one of my first years doing comedy. It was I did like a little college run, and it was all over Wisconsin, and it wasn't like geographically it was nonsense. Like I was just doing like the Star of David pattern all over Wisconsin, and so I did a lot of places. I think I did nice. Like Roanoke, and then I think at one point I did La Crosse, and then I did Whitewater, and Fond du Lac, and then Green Bay. I've been just all over.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love Wisconsin. Obviously, I've been raised here, and I consume a lot of their beer and things like that. So I definitely enjoy it. What do you do like in your downtime? So you're coming up to Appleton for a weekend in October. What do you kind of do before or after shows?
I mean, it's not all the glam life that anyone might assume it is or perceive it. It's a lot of like it's a lot of resting, so you can gear up to have the energy for the projects or the meetings that you have lined up. I mean, I'm a super plain person. I just I buy groceries. I don't know. I feel like a mom right now.
No worries,
I buy
man.
groceries and Ziplocs are my friend. I don't know. I read kind of a lot, but I also like to do a lot of research as far as whatever that place has to offer. So whatever that city is, almost every city has a thing that they consider to be the unique tourist experience or the little gem that they have. And
Right.
so I'll sometimes make a video about that. And I do spend a lot of time with my dog, Stella. That's kind of how I guess that's kind of how I conceived the whole idea for the channel. Is I was just like, oh, I travel so much as a stand-up anyway, might as well document a lot of these experience and try to, I don't know, try to make jokes or write jokes around the stories that we kind of have firsthand. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a cool place in Appleton actually if you're into like old retro video games. And I don't know.
Oh yeah.
There's a place called Player 2 Arcade. It's they call it a barcade. So it's got a bunch of craft beer, which is kind of my stuff, and then they have all old school pinball and arcade games. So I think it's on the same street as Skyline, I want to say. So I don't know, maybe you should check it out. But yeah, your vlog on YouTube, I really enjoy watching it. Dog vlog, you call it, but you've kind of branched out a little bit. You've done some newer type of things where it's not always about Stella and things like that, but most of them involve her. But one of your recent ones, you brought in a winner of America's Got Talent. I don't know what season it was, but you brought her and interviewed her, which I think is really cool. You're branching out and doing more creative stuff because you're a pretty creative person. Not only is stand up, you have this YouTube channel that's got a pretty big following, and it's pretty awesome. So I guess kind of talk about that.
Oh, thanks, man. No, I appreciate. Well, first of all, I appreciate you. I guess for whatever clips you've seen, I appreciate you watching them. I did actually. The first idea that was conceived was to just do dog vlog, and then that kind of brought its own like niche audience over because people are fanatics over their pets and dogs especially. So in that way, it was introducing like an audience over to my channel that was really pet friendly or things that were dog oriented, and I really liked that as far as being able to kind of create a voice or maybe a vehicle for people that was dog related content, but also funny and sprinkling in some more, more of stuff that would, I guess, satisfy or appease someone's pet, like palate or whatever. Yeah. And then from there, I kind of created last year. I created an animated show that I wanted to do, which was a very different style than the vlog, because the vlog is just me kind of off the cuff, maybe coming up with things that I try to write and see if there's anything that could be used as material or something that I can work just overall as improvement for joke writing. And then I wanted to put myself more of in a scripted format that I could have control over. So I went and I rounded up like an animator, and then originally I was casting the episodes as well as cutting all the audio together for them, and then I would send them off to my animator, who would give me like a 2-week turnaround. So we would release an episode every other week, so I guess bi-weekly. And we've been keeping that going for the past 8 or 9 months, and I think that gave me the idea to just start to use my channel more as exactly that, which is a channel. I want people to I guess if someone might not like the vlog, then they might like the animated show, and if someone doesn't like either of those, then I still put every week I put a clip up of stand up that I just had done from the week prior. So I'm going to Florida this week, so hopefully next week I'll be able to release some clips from Florida of just like some unique crowd interactions or whatever, just so people can get the sense that of everything that I can do. And hopefully between those 3 things for now, they could be able to be like, oh, I appreciate him for this, or ideally you want someone who can tune into all 3 of those platforms. But if the idea is to just try and not inhibit or limit yourself as what you can do creatively, because I used to try and only pigeonhole myself as to doing dog related content, because that's all that I thought that people wanted, and that's tough. That's a tough thing to try and run away from, is to try to be like, hey, I appreciate all the support I've gotten from this audience, and I want to be able to do things that appease you, but also I have to do some things for me, because I'll go crazy if I can't do a thing that makes me feel like a person, or makes me feel like a little bit of an artist in a way, or do something that takes something a little more creative liberty outside of the box.
Yeah, and I've noticed that with your YouTube channel and everything like that too, kind of the different things. I do appreciate all your stand-up bits that you put on there, because I do always end up laughing my ass off, because I love your crowd interaction. I watched, I think one of the most recent ones I watched, I think you uploaded it pretty recently, was there was like a lady, I guess you could say, heckled you, or she was kind of drunk, and and I thought it was amazing. I love a good heckle video, especially when like the person on the stage can really get a good reaction or get a good retort, I guess, to them. You kind of go in the moment with that kind of stuff, or I mean, you kind of have to go in the moment, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you do. I mean, I get that particular interaction. I remember it to be difficult, just because I think that if you're talking about the clip that I think you're talking about, she was drunk because like her dad was passing away, and she was. Yeah. So she was. So that was an extra challenge. You know what I mean? Like I can handle any given. I think I can handle any given heckler that comes my way, but she was. There was a motive behind her drinking that was kind of more sad, or one that was from a place of pain. Yeah. So that was a difficult thing to try and navigate. I had to try and be like, hey, I want you to try and be quiet so everyone else can have a good time at the show. But I also didn't want to be not empathetic towards her situation. And she certainly was very drunk, and she certainly was very expressive as far as that. But yeah, I don't know. You just kind of roll the cameras, I guess, and see what happens. And sometimes sometimes I'll walk off stage. Sometimes I'll walk off stage and just go, we didn't get like a ton of great interactions or things, and that's okay. I have a tough time not beating myself up all the time. And in fact, you asked what I do in my downtime. That's probably what occupies most of my time, is just me beating myself up. Yeah. Me just being like, well, that could have been better, or that could have been better. But crowd work is, I guess I always set a goal for myself at the beginning of every year. And this year I wanted to focus, like last year I had focused so much on polishing jokes and really just scrapping them. And I'd like to try to do what a lot of these big guys do, where they'll scrap their hour that they write that year, and then start fresh again. Right. I really try to keep myself to that same schedule on top of all the other projects that I'm doing, just because I never want to not be taken seriously as a stand-up, regardless of however many feet I have in these different camps of projects that I'm creating. It all kind of started from stand-up. And this year, rather than kind of trying to brandish an hour and then dispose of it somewhere, I wanted to try and brush up just a little bit on some crowd interaction stuff. And I think that those can make for some, like you said, maybe some interesting videos, and hopefully can kind of showcase myself in a way that people are like, I forgot that he does stand up, or I forgot that this is where it came from, or I had no idea, or maybe people will be more inclined to come see a live show.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do some acting from time to time as well. I believe I've seen you on Marin. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, I did that. That was 2 years ago, okay. And that was really fun. I mean, I really like Mark's new show, Glow. I think it's really great, and I liked working with him a lot. I mean, you have a podcast, so I'm sure you are. I'm sure you've heard of WTF as well.
Yeah, he's definitely one of my idols when it comes to podcasting, and I wish I've always thought about maybe one day going to the open mic type of thing and trying some jokes, but I don't know if I have what it takes. It's
oh, dude, I mean, I think you absolutely should. I mean, just like at least I don't want you to discourage yourself before you get started,
Right.
because that's such, that's so easy to talk your way out of doing a thing.
Yeah.
And I just even if what you think you want to talk about is, especially since we're talking about somebody like Mark Maron, like he's so good at complaining. All of his shows come from a place of frustration and complaint. And it's weird to say, someone like that is so good at complaining, because that's not necessarily an elevating sort of compliment. But I just mean, like, comedy can very much, I think, especially when you're starting out, if you're coming from a place of, I'm frustrated because of this, or I live in this place, or my financial situation is this way, or my dating situation, or whatever. So long as, like, people are always afraid to fail, and they'll see that maybe they won't get as many laughs, and they'll account that as a failure, rather than being like, the audience is more inclined to laugh with you, or at least appreciate your efforts if you're honest with them, in that whatever you're frustrated about or what you're complaining about is coming from a real place. And so, I've learned, I guess a long time, like, even like I've learned, like, I know you're telling yourself, no, you don't want to do it before you can do it. I'll oftentimes agree to a thing before I think through how badly it can go. That way you're just forcing your body to do it, and then your mind will hopefully acclimate to the occasion. So I don't know. I always want to encourage people to at least try it, because you never know.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. I have I'm the same age as you, actually. I'm 27, almost 28, and I already have 2 kids and everything like that. So my kids think I'm funny. So I mean, I got 2 people in the audience that are gonna laugh at my poop and fart jokes. So that's a good thing. But I feel like you've definitely have earned your comedy chops. You were on America's Got Talent. You did very well, and a lot of people discovered you that way. But before that, you were still doing. You were out there grinding, and you're definitely out there grinding right now. So I definitely I think it's really awesome, and I don't think a lot of people learn to appreciate what stand-ups like yourself actually do. I mean, it's not just one show a night necessarily, and it's it's sometimes 2, sometimes 3, and you're doing it for the 3 days in a row. It is a lot of work, a lot of mental preparation, and now it's like I have to go do the same set. It's going to be a little different because it's a different crowd, but you have to be energetic about it and everything like that. So I definitely give you props for doing that. Did you so you worked a little bit with Howie Mandel on your special that you have, right? It's called Did I Stutter?
Yeah, I did. We did actually work on that. That's a little bit on hold, just because there's some contractual kind of obligations and some other things that I have coming down the line that just the timing of the way certain things get released is always very important. So and that was a special that was it was shot 2 years ago, and I would like to say, I don't like using the word evolved because it sounds braggy, but I would like to think I've at least changed a lot of the way that I do things. Like my not even just my voice is different, but like my voice in comedy is different. The way I see things is different, and the way I would maybe tackle a joke is a little different than how it would be 2 years ago. So
yeah, and that's a good way of putting it. I think you can say the word evolve, because even like every artist, the one thing I hate with like bands and stuff is when people complain that it's this latest album or this stand-up's latest special is different than the last one. It's like, well, what do you expect? You don't want more of the same. Yes, they were successful in what they were doing, but you want them to grow, and you want them to bring you new stuff and a variety. So I think it's definitely good to say the word evolve, and I think you're doing an excellent job, because even I did rewatch your America's Got Talent audition, and I'm sure a million people have brought this up. You watch that, and then you watch like one of your latest clips that you've released, and you can tell that there's even just a cadence, just a different presence on stage, because you're definitely more comfortable, and you've been doing it for a little bit, and you've definitely developed, and I think it's really great. What does it feel like to get that golden buzzer? Because every time I watch it, I'm not gonna lie, I get a little choked up. Every single time that I go for I live for those videos. I'm like, had a bad day at work. I'm like, I need a good golden buzzer moment.
Yeah, that moment was definitely something special, just because that moment was just I felt so validated for like, that was such a vulnerable time in my life,
right.
because I had been doing comedy for, I think 4 years or less than 4 years, and I was really kind of hoping for a break, but I was also hoping to see like my voice was just, I wasn't born with my speech issues, so like I was looking for some kind of landmark or some kind of checkpoint that could help validate myself a little bit, and that was selfish, and that was a little for my own insecurity. I needed something, and to say, hey, your life isn't necessarily useless, or all your efforts have paid off. And in that moment, it definitely felt like I was understood. From at least Howie Mandel, who's someone who could very much I relate to, and it felt good in that moment to be like, I like it is different, because you're putting all yourself out there, and you're being completely yourself and transparent, and that's sometimes hard to do, or you're sometimes worried about how you come across. And when I got that golden buzzer, it was definitely I was overwhelmed with emotion, which is, a lot of people, if you show a comic that video, which I hate watching it. I hate watching. I haven't seen that video in so long, but if you show a comic that video, they might cringe up, or they might go, that's not for me. It's just, I want the comedy, I want the jokes. But if but I would much rather someone take a look at, say, like, maybe my set from Conan last year, which is all jokes and still different. And then maybe juxtapose it with as vulnerable of a moment as America's Got Talent, because that's still just who I am. And my goal is to always be, honest with people, and still have them get a sense that they know who I am, or the way that I am, despite what it is that I do, which is making jokes. So,
hey man, I mean, regardless of how you got where you are, whether it's going on a TV show and getting recognized for your talents, or grinding out, you've done the work. And I think it's definitely something that should be commended. So we got a few more minutes here, but have you, in the comedy world, have you met, I guess, who was your best interaction with? Who's your worst interaction with, if you don't mind calling someone out?
I can't call anybody out by name specifically for bad interactions, just because I can't remember them all. We don't have enough. You don't have enough tape for how many people I've fed, and I mean, it's just there's just basic etiquette. Like I mean, I think one of the more rude. I don't want to say rude, but I would just say, if I could give a piece of advice, maybe to other younger, maybe other comedians or comedians who are just starting out, or whatever. I've had a lot of comics host for me when I come to these new places, and a lot of the hosts appear to be disinterested, or they might have a bit of an ego themselves, because that's their hometown, or that's their home club, or whatever. They might not like who they're working with that weekend. And there's, especially in the past year, there's just been a lot of controversy over comedians in the workplace, and what's acceptable and what isn't. And I want to go back to what it was that I taught, what I was taught when I was hosting. And you just, like, it's the same principle of it applies in corporate life, when it's like, you dress for the job that you want. Like, if you want to be a headliner, like, then, and you're a host, like, watch the feature set,
Right.
watch the headliner set. Like, watch them and watch not even just what they do in their set. Watch them off stage. Watch, like, observe, make note of what it is that they do that you don't like and what it is that they do that you do like. And I think you can learn a lot. That's who I learned it from. I learned it from people who were like, hey man, pay attention, and because you might have the opportunity to do the things that I'm doing right now. And one of the things that just irk me is when I meet a host and they might have a little bit of their own thing going on, or they feel so inclined as to not watch the feature or watch the headliner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's just so much to learn from that, and maybe even just in watching it, like it could spark an idea for you for something else that could apply for your set, where you're like, that made me think of my joke, where I can expand here, or I like how this person does this. I watch some of my favorite, like I watch people like Gary Goldman or Nate Bargatze or Jim Gaffigan or any of those guys. They all give great advice when it comes to writing jokes, and it's just, you need to pull everything you need to circumnavigate like every topic. And I just think from you to take that shift as a host to a headliner, like your joke writing will change. Like, your joke writing when you first start out is very short. It's very much like, here's one little quick thing, and then there's the punchline. Right. Now so I was at the store, and there's that thing, and now I was walking my dog, and then like that's kind of how it goes. And then when you watch some of these veterans, you see that they can talk about a thing for 10 or 15 minutes, and it's the same thing, but just from different angles. And like, I mean, this is a bit of a tangent, and I apologize for how verbose this answer is, but I just think like so much can be reformed as far as like that courtesy, regardless of all the controversy that's happened in the past year for things that happen in the workplace. Like I don't care about I care about people that are respectful, and I don't even care so much if you're like even that funny to me. All the interactions that I've had that have been poor have been because people have an ego, or they just were disinterested or disrespectful, and that's never a thing that I wouldn't do that to. I wouldn't do that to people who were like, I guess, below me, and I certainly wouldn't do it to people who are above me, and I wouldn't do it to the people who are at the same level as me. Like, it's just, everybody's got a different journey in this, so. Yeah. As far as positive interactions that I've had, I mean, I worked with Ralphie when I first kind of started, and he was I know he just recently passed away, and it was definitely sad. But regardless of anybody's opinion on someone as a person, as an artist, I really appreciated Ralphie, and I actually appreciated the way that he treated other comedians.
Yeah.
He just brought always like a sense of.
He had a good personality. He was hilarious on stage, and I mean, I didn't know him personally,
and off stage,
yeah,
he was
great dude.
He was great, and he was like he always advocated for the camaraderie of comedians and the kinship that we have, and that we're all kind of in the same boat, working toward the same thing. We need to support each other. And he was confident, and he was funny, but he wasn't someone who was like incredibly arrogant or anything like that. So I had good advice from him. He was instrumental in teaching me things that were kind of during my formative years of comedy.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate I appreciate your insight on it, because it's something that people don't necessarily see in the world of comedy. And I know your time is kind of limited here, but I want to talk about your tour again. So you're in Florida this weekend. You have some dates in Ohio, Columbus coming up, Appleton, of course, in Wisconsin. We have a listener in Ohio. His name is Super Listener Chad. He's a cool dude. So hopefully, Chad, get to a show if you can in Columbus, or it looks like you're going to be in Liberty Township as well. If they want to get in touch with you, check out your vlog. Where can they go for that?
I mean, it's just on YouTube, but you can find a lot of the stuff on Facebook or what have you. But I'm sure if you just type my name in to any of those, then I'll pop up. So.
All right, man. Well, thanks again for doing this. Once again, I really appreciate this, and I'm actually going to pick up some tickets to your show coming up in Appleton. So hopefully,
awesome, man.
Catch you after.
Well, I look forward to meeing you in person, and I look forward to saying hi to the kids, and you know, hopefully we'll chat comedy then. You know.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks a lot.
Of course. Bye.
Bye.
Pew pew! Audio. Goodbye, everyone.